Most people in their 20s never actually build real savings because when they make money, it disappears into things that they never even notice. Bad spending habits, debt, or lifestyle upgrades that they never even notice and don't even actually make them happier. In this video, I'm breaking down the 5 biggest money traps in your 20s if you want to save your first $10,000 and actually grow it. I've seen these kind of money traps wipe out people's finances, and I don't want that to happen for you as well. These are some base level traps that if you avoid will put you ahead of most people. In your 20s are a very important time to focus on finances and set a good foundation. So let's make sure that you set this good foundation and don't fall into these traps in your 20s so you don't waste these years and can set yourself up for financial freedom and your future self will thank you. Trap number 1, which I see a lot of because I am a college student, is going to college for the wrong reasons or going to the wrong college for reasons that aren't important to you. Now, I'm in college, so I know it can be the great investment if you choose the right place and the right education that you're looking for. For example, for me, I knew that if I had to pay and go into debt for college, that it wasn't going to be worth it because I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. But luckily for me, college is free because of financial aid and scholarships. So for me, the cost benefit analysis made it so it was worth it because I figured if I can go for free and then get some education in business and entrepreneurship, then it is worth it for me. If I had to go into 30 grand of debt to go to college, it wouldn't have been worth it because I wanted to be an entrepreneur anyways. So for this trap, you really have to think about what you want to do and what you're interested in, and if college is going to help you get to where you want to go. But just as important as actually going to college is picking the right college at the right price point for you. Because going into debt for college isn't always a terrible idea, but it's just something you should really think through and ask yourself some key questions. One of those key questions is to make sure that you're doing it for yourself and not for your parents or anybody else, or just to show people that you're doing something with your life. Because there's plenty of other things that you can do besides college as well, like start your own business or just go right into the working field. Either way, college is not your only option. Only go to college if it's a field that you actually want to work in and the cost makes sense. If you're feeling really unsure, my main advice would be to try community college at first, or even don't go to any college and just start building skills on your own through the internet. There's plenty of information out there that you don't have to pay for. Trap number 2 is lifestyle creep / raising your baseline. This is one that can sneak up on a lot of people. Here's what I mean by lifestyle creep. You get your first paycheck, and instead of stacking the money and saving it, you upgrade your apartment or get a new car. Suddenly your monthly baseline jumps up and the minimum it takes to live increases drastically. And this is why I can sometimes feel like even though I'm making more money, I'm not able to save any more than when I was working less. You should think of your monthly baseline as like a freedom marker. And the lower you can keep your monthly baseline, the more options you will have and the more freedom you will have. When you lock yourself into expensive rent and debts, an expensive car payment, you're restricting yourself from traveling or just having more options for employment and everything when you have a high monthly baseline. You are essentially handcuffing yourself into whatever job you have to working longer hours just to be able to reach your baseline monthly. The truth is that happiness doesn't come from having a fancy car and your baseline being most of your income. It comes from having a low baseline and having the freedom to do whatever you want. If you can keep your baseline under 35% of your income, you're setting yourself up for choices later. Like maybe you want to start a business, or you want to start traveling, or you just want to be able to invest and save aggressively. Essentially, do not trade freedom for short-term comfort. Trap number 3 is a very, very important one, and that is ignoring investing. I've heard tons of people say, yeah, I know about it, but I'm just gonna do it later. I'm super young right now. But that is the best time to invest because that gives your money more time to compound over time. And essentially, the earlier you put money in, your money is worth a lot more to your future self. Because time in the stock market is way more important than trying to time the stock market from day to day. What I mean by that is putting money in 2 years ago is way better than today trying to time the market so it's the lowest possible price, you're not going to be able to beat the market that way. It's about having your money in there for a long period of time. And when I say investing, I'm not really talking about crypto. I'm talking about index funds like the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones. I don't consider crypto a beginner investing method. Remember that investing early isn't about being rich tomorrow. It's about building the kind of freedom and wealth where your money works for you in the future. Because eventually, you want your money to do the hard work. Trap number 4 is having no emergency fund. And this one does seem pretty self-explanatory, that if you don't have an emergency fund, when something inevitably goes wrong, you're going to have to go into high interest debt, like credit card debt, which is also a huge trap, which can really set your financial future way behind. Having an emergency fund takes you from the next level from living paycheck to paycheck, and hopefully keeps you away from there. With even a small emergency fund, like $1,000 to $3,000, it can save you from having one flat tire, a medical bill, or an emergency expense that would set you into debt. An emergency fund isn't really a fun thing to have, but it's a very essential safety net for your finances. And it gives you peace of mind and lets you take risks, like changing jobs or starting a side hustle, things that you wouldn't normally be able to do if you don't have a safety net to protect you. Our 5th and final trap, and something that I kind of touched on in the last trap, is having credit card debt. I'm going to start off by saying that credit cards aren't bad in themselves. In fact, they can help you build credit, get lower interest rates on a mortgage, and gives you money back. If you use credit cards correctly, they're only a plus in your life. The problem is when you start carrying a balance from month to month and missing payments and start paying interest on your money. Because credit card interest rates are terrible. They're usually over 20%. So when you think about it, if you carry a $1,000 balance, you're paying hundreds of dollars of interest over the year. But the good news is, the fix is simple. Pay off your credit card in full every month. Only spend money on the credit card that you have in your checking. If you're unable to use a credit card correctly, my next advice would be to simply not use them. Because although they are slightly beneficial for people that can use them correctly, it's not worth to keep going into more and more debt because you want the benefits, because the cons far outweigh the benefits if you're not using them correctly. You only get the benefits of credit cards if you're disciplined with them. One missed payment can crush your score and put you into debt. So use the credit cards as a tool and not a trap. Thank you for watching this video, and if you're interested in going into a deeper dive, please check out tysonfinance.com, where you're going to see my 0 to 100K 5-year roadmap. And this is an exact step-by-step roadmap that'll take you from 0 to 100K in a 5-year, year-by-year plan. And if you're interested in that, check the description. Thank you for watching.